Welcome to Learn Divine Music. This is your music theory teacher, Miss Vine. Welcome to the video. Lesson 3. Chords. Part 1. What is a chord? A chord is a combination of 3 or more notes. They are built using a single note, known as the root note. Starting simply, we will be discussing triads. A major triad, also known as a major chord, is built with a major third and a perfect fifth. To create a C major chord, you would start with the root note, which is C, count 4 half steps from C, which will give you the major third. For the perfect fifth, start at the root note and count up 7 half steps, then you'll have the C major chord. Another method is to work out the C major scale. I showed you how to create this in lesson 1. Starting on C, find the third note of the scale, C is 1, which will give you E. For the perfect fifth, it will be the 5th note of the scale. Moving on to a minor triad. To create a minor triad, you use the minor third and a perfect fifth from the root note. For C minor, we move 3 half steps and then find the second note, which is the minor third. Then for the perfect fifth, you move 7 half steps to find the perfect fifth. Similar to the second method of major triads, minor triads can be worked out by starting on C, use the minor scale, natural/harmonic, and count 3 notes of the scale, including C, and you will find the minor third, which is E flat. For the perfect fifth, do the same as major, except using the minor scale. So for major, the formula of creating a major triad is root note, major third, perfect fifth. For minor, the formula is root note, minor fourth, and perfect fifth. Moving on to the harder 2 types of chords, the augmented and diminished. What is an augmented chord? An augmented chord is a transitional chord used for creating a dissonant and sharpened sound. It is used as a passing chord to create tension and then be resolved to major or minor. These chords are dreamy or suspenseful. To create an augmented chord, you start with the root note, the major third, and the augmented fifth. Since you already know how to create/find a major third, we'll be looking closer at the augmented fifth. An augmented fifth moves 5 spaces, including the root note, then moves a half step. Creating C augmented would be C, E, G sharp/A flat. This allows a smooth transition from major and minor and major. Augmented chords are also featured if using an augmented scale. However, that is a lesson for a different video. Moving on to our final type of chords, the diminished chord. What is a diminished chord? A diminished chord is a dissonant chord similar to an augmented chord. However, a diminished chord uses the minor scale as a baseline. Diminished is used to mean make smaller, and that's what it does when in music. When creating a diminished chord, we start with the root note, use the minor third, and a diminished fifth. Since diminished means make smaller, when you diminish the 5th note, you make it a semitone smaller. For C dim, which is what a diminished abbreviation is, the notes are C, E flat, and G flat, because we've lowered the G to G flat. Diminished chords are eerie and ominous. They're used as a bridge between 2 chords in jazz, rock, and pop. So how will we know when to use certain chords in a scale to be able to create a chord sequence? Well, for major, the chords in a pattern would be major as the first chord, minor as the second chord, minor as the third chord, major as the 4th chord, major as the 5th chord, minor as the 6th chord, and diminished as the 7th chord. These chords all relate to a pattern, so when creating a chord sequence, we choose different chords which have different meanings in every song. So typically we go from starting on the 1st chord and ending on the 5th chord to create a perfect cadence which gives a resolved feeling. So what would the C major chords be? So starting out with C major as the first chord, D minor as the second chord, E minor as the third chord, F major as the fourth chord, G major as the fifth chord, also known as the perfect fifth, A minor as the sixth chord, and B diminished as the seventh chord. So for the minor chord pattern, it would be minor as the first, diminished as the second, major as the third, minor as the fourth, minor as the fifth, major as the sixth, and major as the seventh. For C minor, the pattern would be C minor as the first, D diminished as the second, E flat major as the third, F minor as the fourth, G minor as the fifth, also known as the perfect fifth, A flat major as the sixth, and B flat major as the seventh. If you want to learn about extended chords, I'll be discussing that in part 2. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.